Those who know me understand that I love Bigfoot lore almost as much as I love horror. Today's picks for the Best in Horror Countdown 2023 to 2024 both have something to do with Bigfoot. One sports just a whiff of Squatch, and the other is squatchy as all get out. I was blown away by Strange Darling. I went back and forth between naming this film and tomorrow's pick for the number 1 spot, but number 2 ain't a bad place to be. At the mighty number 2 spot is Strange Darling. It was released on August 23rd, 2024, and is available on demand from Miramax. It's written and directed by J.T. Mollner. The best way to go into Strange Darling is blind. Don't watch this trailer, although it does a good job of telling you pretty much nothing about the plot or give away any of the amazing twists and turns this film takes. Don't talk to those who've seen it. Don't scour online to find the plot and spoilers. So right now, at the start of this review, I'm just going to say Strange Darling is one of the best films you're going to see this year. Still, I won't reveal anything about the film because I know some of you did not rush out and see it in the theater. But I will say it's broken up into 6 chapters with an epilogue, and it involves a serial killer. Other than that, you're not going to get any details about the story or the twists from me. I still need to talk about a few things, starting with asking the question, is this a horror movie? Well, Strange Darling calls itself a thriller, but knowing that many stray away from calling a film horror because of the stigma often attached to the genre, thriller sounds somewhat more distinguished, I guess. Still, the film is about a serial killer. It's gory as all get out, with all sorts of horrible people doing horrible things to one another and spurting the red stuff in all directions. It's violent as hell and feels like a truly surprise of a movie in this modern era where things are careful and safe. The film is anything but safe. And it involves a lot of sex and all kinds of perversity surrounding it. Serial killer, gore, violence, sex, and maybe just a whiff of Sasquatch. Sounds like a fucking horror movie to me. So while I'm willing to debate as to whether or not this film qualifies as horror, I'm going to go ahead and give it that label. Whatever genre it falls into, Strange Darling is an engrossing watch. Actor Giovanni Ribisi, you know him. I think he's best known for The Other Sister, right? Who knew the guy had such an amazing eye as he plays the role of director of photography and producer of Strange Darling. This film is vivid and exciting from the first to last frame. The action scenes are intense and stylized, and the quiet moments are engrossing with overwhelming shades of red and blue. This is a film those who study film will watch over and over just to understand how the camera acts as a way to intensify every action it captures, static or moving. On top of that, the sound design is absolutely bombastic. This is a film that needs to be played loud, as the bursts of sound and off-kilter noises are just as shocking as the action unfolding on screen. On top of that, this is one of those films with a soundtrack to take note of. I can't wait to add it to my Spotify playlist. But it's the stars of Strange Darling that makes this one of the best movie experiences you're going to have this year. Yes, there's a ton of gore and action and perversity and all of that, but at its twisted black heart, Strange Darling is a romance. It's a dark, dank romance, but still, it's the chemistry between Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald that proves to be a potent mixture. The scenes the two share are electrifying. The script they're following is pointed and barbed. But it's these two powerhouse actors that sell it so well. Gallner has been in too many genre films to mention. I remember meeting him on the set of the Nightmare on Elm Street remake many moons ago. Gallner has an intensity. He's a pan about to boil over, full of frustration and tension, but is also unafraid to show a tender and more softer side. He commands every scene he's in, and I can see this film opening a lot of new doors for the actor. And holy crap, Willa Fitzgerald. I remember noticing her as the svelte temptress in Flanagan's The Fall of the House of Usher, but nothing is going to prepare you for what she delivers in Strange Darling. Just like Gallner, she's mesmerizing every second she's on screen. What she goes through and how she reflects it in her face would floor any normal actress. She gives such a powerful physical performance here, and by the end, you've seen her go through a gamut of emotions in ways I've never really seen before. Director, writer J.T. Mollner really hasn't done much before. He's directed a few small-budget films, and if they're anything like Strange Darling, I can't wait to see them too. Mollner constructs a true puzzle of a movie that fits together like a glove, highlighting some things and omitting other details and revealing them like wrapped presents on Christmas morning. Watching Strange Darling took me back to the 90s when I feel it was the last time movies were dangerous and raw. This one harkens back to those indie-filled 90s and the grindhousey 70s where you couldn't predict films and they defied convention, genre restraints, and any rules set against it. I can't wait to see Strange Darling again, and I hope you heed my advice to see it yourself. You can thank me later, but I'll just end this slobbering, slathering review with "You're welcome," and leave it at that. If you didn't guess by the intro, today's worth mentioning pick is Sasquatch Sunset. It's a film that is also going to be considered not quite horror, but it does have some convincing Sasquatch costuming, as well as a lot of gross-out humor and fluids thrown in all directions. So I think it fits fine in this worth mentioning category. Sasquatch Sunset was released on April 19th, 2024, and is available on demand from Bleecher Street. It's directed by David Zellner and Nathan Zellner, and written by David Zellner. For Sasquatch, or Sasquatches, I really should know which is the proper term, make their way across the Pacific Northwest throughout the course of 1 year. The film captures the good times and the bad of this makeshift family as they search for others of their kind and tiptoe along the edge of human civilization. Many Sasquatch penises, flaccid and erect, will be seen during this journey. Okay, first and foremost, this is not a horror movie. There is one scene of blood and guts, and quite a few instances of gross-out bodily fluid usage in one form or another, but there really aren't any moments that categorize Sasquatch Sunset as a horror film. That said, it is an amazing genre movie, taking a cryptid that may or may not exist and follow them around for an entire year as if this were a nature documentary, sans narration. That's right, there's absolutely not one line of dialogue, so this film feels most like Neanderthal movies like Quest for Fire, Caveman, and more recently, Out of Darkness. The difference being that Sasquatch Sunset follows a group of modern-day cryptids who simply communicate through grunts and hoots. What makes Sasquatch Sunset so special is that it views the world through mostly gentle and innocent eyes. This is a goofy-ass concept, especially since it's being played by experienced actors like Jesse Eisenberg and Riley Keough, playing two of the main Sasquatches, along with director Nathan Zellner and the short-statured Christoph Zajac-Denek. While no lines are spoken, all four actors are able to convey distinct personalities and complex emotions. But despite some minor challenges for who is the most dominant of the group, it's the sense that these creatures teeter between human and animal that makes it all such a fascinating watch. They seem to be at one with nature, showing some advanced understanding of humanity in its simplest form and a curiosity that is often quite adorable and sometimes very dangerous. If anything, Sasquatch Sunset perfectly displays how these beasts are a true enigma, somewhat human, yet very much a part of nature. I love the quiet scenes after moments of aggression or despair where the Sasquatches seem to take comfort in interacting with smaller animals of the forest. Eisenberg's character seems to be the most curious of the bunch, attempting to learn to count, making him somewhat of the expansive thinker of the bunch, the scientist of the group, in its most rudimentary form. Keough is the sole female, and with two of the three groups' primal motivations being eating and mating, her role is central to the story. Two of the Sasquatches see her as a mate, while the smaller one, possibly being one of her children, she plays a motherly role. Again, without a word, Keough is able to convey an amazing array of emotions, highlighting how great of an actor she truly is. That leaves the bigger Sasquatch, played by co-director Nathan Zellner, and the smaller one, played by Christoph Zajac-Denek, to play as comic relief. The big one being the more aggressive and impulsive one, getting the group into trouble more than anything, and the smaller one being the playful and most noble of the group. The fun is not only seeing the Sasquatches survive through the year, but how these various personalities bump into each other along the way. But as with most nature documentaries, tragedy is an ever-present but important factor in it all. After you get to know these giants for the gentle and innocent beings that they are, Sasquatch Sunset breaks your heart with a comedic and absurd scene early in the film. It's the deep sadness the rest of the Sasquatches feel that really hits you. It's in this tragedy that you really see the heartbreaking truth that permeates almost every scene to come. Earlier, I talked about the 3 primary motivations of the Sasquatches, yet only named 2. The third seems to be the most important of all, the determination to find more of their kind. It's evident from the beginning that while these creatures are at one with nature, there are very few of them. And while it may be amusing to see the Sasquatches knock sticks against the trees in tandem, it's horribly depressing that they never hear a response from those knocks. As they roam the countryside, seeing the Sasquatches triumph and fail, you understand that this is a species slowly growing extinct, and the causes of this extinction are the human emotions and primal, yet sometimes intelligent instincts that exist deep inside of them. Right up to the abrupt but poetic ending, this sad point is driven home, and makes the Sasquatch's peril all the more relatable. The Sasquatch costumes are some of the best practical fur suits you're going to see on screen. Though heavily made up, the facial appliances are especially good because they change the faces of the actors, yet they're still able to emote a ton of different feelings. This is no simple fur costume either, as the hair moves evenly with the different joints and folds of the body. This is some of the best Bigfoot makeup put to film, but still, these are just actors in suits, and that's where my criticism of this film lies. You see, while Sasquatch may be shaped like a human, if you've watched as many Bigfoot channels as I have on the YouTubes, you know they are not shaped like humans at all. This is why so many so-called authentic Bigfoot photos and grainy clips captured are so easily debunked. If you're a fan of the Thinker Thunker YouTube channel, you know that the proportions of man and what seems to be Sasquatch, mostly derived from the Patterson-Gimlin footage, are very different. Many reports indicate the cryptid to have arms longer than a human that reach below the knees, broad shoulders, and no neck, forcing the monster to turn its whole body rather than its head. The Bigfoot costumes in Sasquatch Sunset are wonderfully textured, and the actors try their best to slump over, but if seen in the wild, they would still be seen as actors in fur suits. Their necks are loose and mobile. Short of complete CGI, I fear it's almost impossible to drop that man-in-a-monkey suit look. And while some of the consistent Bigfoot behaviors are addressed in Sasquatch Sunset, like wood knocks, tree formations, and vocalizations, other common traits are ignored. Most prominent of them being that Sasquatch is said to be very nocturnal, with animalistic eyes that flare in the nighttime. And while I'm sure flaring animal eyes are not going to be in the budget of this type of film, and might take away from the need to have a Sasquatch emote, as well as a night shoot in general being outside of the budget, I still think this nighttime behavior is something that isn't really addressed in the movie. What is addressed is how the Sasquatch uses all bodily fluids as weapons of defense and expression of confusion, frustration, and dominance. One of the best scenes in the film occurs when the group encounters a man-made road made of concrete that is best left seen to be believed. The group's reaction to it is primal, gross, and absolutely hilarious. There are numerous scenes that might churn the stomachs of some, but tickled me to no end. Sasquatch Sunset is not going to be for everyone. I loved it, but I'm a fan of Sasquatch lore and a huge weirdo with an appreciation for absurdist humor. This is a beautifully filmed, deftly acted, often silly, often gross, often poignant, often absurdly funny, and often heartbreaking tale of 1 year in the lives of 4 Sasquatches. If that sounds even vaguely interesting to you, then maybe you're the kind of weirdo that this film was made for. Maybe. Only one more pick left in this year's Best in Horror Countdown 2023 to 2024. Please show up tomorrow to find out which movie is at the top of the list. Be sure to hit all the appropriate bells and whistles so you don't ever miss a post. And happy Halloween, folks. Please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notification. You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're